Reading is a very personal experience, and saying whether a book is good or bad is entirely objective depending on the person. We can't be blind to the classics and think that all books written a century ago are perfect. It's just that the bad ones aren't really talked about. And we also can't be blind to the fact that the publishing industry now only cares about pumping out as many books as they can as potential money grabbers. So, no, not all books are bad. The publishing industry is. What we're seeing now is what I feel like we've always seen, and that is that the publishing industry is only prioritizing making money. Surprise, surprise, I'm not surprised. In this video, I wanted to touch on two main points. Aside from outright explaining the publishing industry, because I feel like there are plenty of videos out there explain that core concept as the reason why the book industry is the way that it is, while also challenging myself to sketch for 10 days straight. I feel like I have commitment issues when it comes to my art, so this challenge was really just a way for me to sketch every day. Consumers are the backbone of the publishing industry. In some parts, what is happening now isn't entirely bad. It's only mildly annoying if you are a seasoned reader. As a seasoned reader, we have to understand that there is such a thing as an entry level book. Don't forget that we weren't thrown into the deep end as children in school when we were asked to read books. They are typically assigned based on how appropriate it is to our reading level, at least in America. I can't be the only one who remembers these books. At least in my experience, you took a test reading out loud in front of your teacher, and they would determine when you get to move up a letter. Now in adulthood, no one's going to do that for you. I feel like it happens naturally. With that being said, according to the National Literacy Institute for 2024 to 2025, 54% of US adults read below the equivalent of a sixth grade level. And it's no surprise when this natural progression in literacy is incapable of happening when 44% of American adults do not read a book in a year. On the other hand, an article at Words Rated in 2023 notes if people decide to read at least one full book, they are 29 times more likely to continue reading than stop at one. Now, why is this important? Well, because the concept of an entry level book, these are books that are easy to read, easy to consume, and pretty much anybody can pick up. I feel like the publishing industry caters to those books. Take romantasy, for example, a renamed genre that has brought an influx of new readers. That's not to say that the books in this particular genre are bad or poorly written, just accessible. I feel like at the end of the day, anybody who is reading is a good thing, especially in a country where the literacy rates are in the devil's armpit. But on the other hand, it does oversaturate the landscape. Books that are being promoted left and right are quote unquote bad. So, to us readers, all we see are the same books that are being recommended seemingly everywhere by everyone. Then we pick it up and realize, oh, these people have probably never read fan fiction a day in their lives. I'm kidding. Either way, it's not to say that these books are truly bad. It's just that once you branch off of what people are recommending and just go on your own path and find books that you like by authors you've probably never heard of or people don't really talk about with writing that is actually incredible and impacts you as a person, reading something that is kind of half-assed and slapped together for a quick coin can kind of be seen as lackluster, and you start to look at other readers with skepticism. But I think don't judge people because they haven't gotten to that level yet. And honestly, it's okay if you enjoy reading and know that it's either trashy or bad. But again, this is not to say that every book now that is being published is trashy or bad, but I would be blind and kind of ignorant not to point out that some books have solely been written just to profit off of them. Quality is sacrificed for quantity. And again, this isn't a new concept either. I stumbled upon a book published in 2003 called So Many Books, with its opening statement consisting of the reading of books is growing arithmetically. The writing of books is growing exponentially. If our passion for writing goes unchecked, in the near future, there will be more people writing books than reading them. The stark truth of this statement left me to ruminate in silence because that is exactly what is happening. And that was published in 2003, 2 decades ago, and my senior by a year. But, anyways, there's this video called Are Books Getting Worse by Jared Henderson. He does a great job explaining the amount of books being published in a year, along with other great points that I definitely recommend giving it a watch as a little, supplementary to this video if you care. Anyways, I want to circle back to that fan fiction comment. Don't crucify me. But I feel like a lot of readers have gone through a fan fiction phase either in middle school or high school, or still now. I won't lie, I still read fan fiction on occasion. We don't hold fan fiction to a standard. It has free reign to be what it is without criticism because it's free. Inversely, we hold books to a standard, expecting them to be thoroughly edited, well thought out, engaging, good, because we give these authors, publishers, editors, bookstores our money. Not to say that all fan fiction is poorly written. That is absolutely not true. You can find some wonderful gems, and a lot have been published, although that's a separate topic of conversation, but you will encounter it more often than not. And that's the beauty of fan fiction. It's not edited, it's messy. Sometimes it makes no sense, but you get to experience your favorite characters in a way that keeps them alive, regardless if the original media is over or not. And the industry plays into this in the sense that they know people aren't reading. So, what better way to get the everyday person to read than with something that lacks strong prose but makes up for it with a slightly engaging plot? And we can't blame these readers either. Everyone has to start somewhere. So, all the books we see now are bad because our bad is someone's good, and that good is enough for publishers to make a shit ton of money. Before the bobo ass explosion of social media, I feel like people just kept their opinions to themselves if they found a book bad, or they'd share their thoughts with their friends or on some tiny corner of the internet. Now it feels like everyone is talking about how X is bad, don't read it, read Y instead. I think we should be able to have that sort of discretion ourselves. I do feel wary when I see overly negative reviews for a book, but I also feel that way with overly positive reviews where the hype scares me out of reading it. Now, with the way that I read, I like going into it a little blind, but that's just me. I feel like there's a herd mentality with reading, which is interesting because the book space online is already a niche corner and it only gets nicher if you truly search for it, but surface level feels like everyone is saying the same thing. It's like movie critics versus influencers who are either paid to leave a good review or encouraged to leave positive comments. I don't doubt that many book creators have said a book is 5 stars and it was only because they got paid to say so or they want to stay in publishers' good graces to receive more free books. That becomes a problem with oversaturating the online book space with quote unquote bad books when they are actually poorly recommended, which is another thing. Narrowing a book to aesthetic pictures, quotes, or tropes is not sufficient recommendation and can be misleading. Most of the ones I used to encounter look good and enticing, but that isn't sufficiently enough to know if the book is objectively good. I'm not saying creators should stop making this content, but for viewers to practice discretion with the content they consume. Speaking of which, that brings me to the sense of elitism in the book space. There's the promotion of anti intellectualism, which goes hand in hand with media literacy, and those who view themselves in an elitist adjacent space, without outright saying it, look down on those who read and recommend those entry level books that the publishing industry loves to push out. It all comes full circle. This elitism includes looking down on others who read outside of a specific genre or who solely read one genre, policing what people read and what counts as reading, getting mad at readers who read X amount of books in a month/year, typically the higher the better, saying you don't read insert extremely popular author here or popular romance or fantasy title that has blown up because of TikTok. Some of my personal opinions include equating smut to adult graphic videos, getting upset when someone annotates their books and it's not a classic or a lit fic, having an opinion on a book you haven't even read and providing zero valuable critique to back up your opinion that a book is bad besides what you've heard online, and saying no one is reading critically anymore. To branch off my last point, given entry level books, how do you expect people to read critically and have media literacy when they have never exercised that part of their brain? All in all, what I'm trying to say is that there's no reason to be in other readers' business. It's not that deep. Let people read. You don't need to be an elitist to say that you can't find a good book, but using extreme language like saying all books are bad now makes you look a tad bit entitled. That's just my opinion. Inversely, I want to mention the other side of the conversation where it does become an issue, and it's the anti intellectualism. Comments from readers saying they skim pages, only read dialogue, skip long paragraphs, and complain without saying it about reading. Readers who refuse to accept criticism of their favorite books, authors, genres, but I feel like this is only a small amount of people within the book community where it just feels performative, but I guess so is the elitism. It's the negative voices that always ring the loudest. To that, I don't know what to say. Ignore them. There's also a new conversation that I've seen pop up that turns the question inward and suggests that maybe we are just too stupid now. Are we? I'd like to think not, at least for myself, but according to Alina has a great video on this that I suggest you take a look at if you want more in depth. That was a mouthful and I need water. But yeah, so the whole point of this video was for me to just pretty much talk about books, which will be a common theme as I continue to maybe make videos. I don't know, we'll see. Anyways, if you cared about what I was drawing at all, here is my 10-day sketch challenge. I did not record all of it like I would have liked because of outside factors, and I'm not a perfect person. I'm still learning how to do this. But anyways, so day one was this guy. I tend to draw him a lot. If you know who he is, comment down below. Then day two was some little lambs jumping. The paper looks like shit because day three, I did a little bit of plein air sketching, which I'm not used to, but I was at the pier at my local beach and it started raining. And yeah, my paper got really shitty. My paper just it got wet and then I tried erasing it. So I just taped these two pages together to hide the sketch that was underneath. Yeah, these two are part of day three, and so is this one. My friend caught a fish. Him and my partner were fishing while I was just doodling, I guess. Day four was this guy. Also, if you recognize him, tell me who he is. Day five was a shoe I saw on Pinterest because I thought it was cute and it was shiny and I wanted to sketch it. There's really no other explanation other than that. Same thing with this tiger. I thought his pose was fun. I had to improvise his foot because it wasn't in the picture. Day seven was a garlic clove. Again, no rhyme or reason. Day eight, a little figure study. Again, I liked her pose. That was pretty much it. Day nine was around the time an album released, and there was a cover on there of a song that I really enjoyed, and I wanted to draw a weeping star. And then day 10 was Brush Buddy because I've been getting into that as well lately. I wanted to do good variation of sketches. I didn't want everything to be so similar looking, especially because this challenge was mostly for me to just sketch every day without much commitment. Or like the only commitment is sketching every day. I didn't want to think too long and hard about what I was sketching, so I just kind of did the first thing that caught my eye. And yeah, a little bit of variation. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know your favorite sketch. Let me know what about this video you enjoyed, if you agree or disagree. And yeah, unrelated, but kind of related. I had no idea you could thrift books online. And yes, I have been taking full advantage of that. Anyways, thank you. Bye.